Hello, in this video I'm going to go over a night market build for a healer that I have created. This is within mind of not being grouped up and just kind of running around with the herd, or if you're maybe with guildies that are in a group already, but you're not in the group. I don't know what the scenario could be, but this is basically uh, supposed to work with whether or not you're grouped up with people or if you're just running around with the herd. And why I make that distinction is there are several sets in the game that have specific verbiage. Let me just bring up, for example, um, Depths of Malatar, Symphony of Blades. Whenever you see the condition group member in there, that means you have to actually be grouped with the person for the benefit to actually hit them. So there are a lot of sets in the game. For example, if you go to Trials, we'll just look at, for example, very common healer set historically has been Pillager's Prophet. This gives ultimate to you and 11 other group members when you use an ultimate. This is going to be worthless if you're not actually grouped with people. So what I did here with this build is I created a build with uh, sets that do not require you to be grouped that can still benefit people. And so I am calling this build the Doctors Without Members. And so what that is going to do with this build setup, I'm going to go over the gear sets first. The very first set I'm using on here is on the front bar is Combat Physician. Let me just pull up the sticker book for this. If you're not familiar with this set, it comes from the base game dungeon, Wayrest Sewers, so you can farm this on normal and pick up this set. And what this has is a line of Max Magicka, 2 lines of critical chance. And what this does is when you critically heal you or a target, you grant them a damage shield for 6 seconds, and this can occur once every 6 seconds per target. Now, that's a very important distinction because this is not a cooldown of the set of itself. It can happen per target. So, for example, if you just critically healed somebody and they get a shield, and then 2 seconds later you critically heal somebody else, they can also get a shield. This is going to proc several times across many different targets. The cooldown is on the target itself, not on the set. And it also does not have that group member requirement listed there. Another important thing is this is a critically striking proc here, so it's really important to make sure you have a high amount of critical chance on your build so that this happens frequently. I will cover that here in just a minute. But the monster set that I'm using comes from Bedlam's Veil. Again, this is a critically healing proc, same basic condition as the uh, combat physician, but you are having this come from a monster set. This also grants a damage shield, but in addition to that, it will grant somebody minor force. Now, a lot of people running in the night market may be taking the Velothi Mythic off and using the Pale Order Ring. So if that's the case, then you can't critically heal them. So if they are running the Pale Order Ring, then honestly, you as a healer cannot help them. But if somebody's using Velothi, the minor force will be kind of redundant, um, but you can still give them a damage shield nonetheless. But that is one of the reasons I'm using this is because this can again proc per target, and it's very mobile. If you're just going to hit, for example, a radiating regeneration, as you can see, I'm not grouped with my wife's character here, and I'm still giving her a damage shield. We'll see. There's the shield there. If you want to see, that's both of the shield's combat position. So now I'm on the back bar and only the blind is active. So if there's a critical strike right there, or a critical heal, I should say. So if you can watch this, anytime you see an exclamation point, there's one there, and you can see the shield is active on her. I'm not grouped, and I'm still giving her a damage shield. So if I go on my front bar, I've got way more critical chance on my front bar, as you can see here, and I've not even procced my power potion. I'll proc that real quick so you can see when I hit that, I go up to 46%. So why is that important? Because heal over times, you're gonna critically strike a lot if you're firing off several different heals. So you're gonna really be able to hit a lot of critical heals and keep these shields up. And if you're using a spammable like this, which I like to use, is I'll get into the skill lines later. Let's finish off the sets. Sorry, I'm a little bit scattered here. But the third set that I'm going to use, this is PvP set, and it's from Cyrodiil. This drops from the Rewards of the Worthy. If you want to purchase this set with your AP, I recommend going into Cyrodiil and you come down to uh, Cropsford and purchase it in town here. Don't purchase it from the home base because those coffers are 20,000 AP a piece. If you come down here to Cropsford, they're only 12, so they're cheaper in town here. Or you can buy it on Traders if you want to try and find it on Traders. I found several pieces myself in Traders for fairly cheap, and I actually have them on my build here. Um, I bought the chest piece for fairly cheap here, as you can see. Um, but what this set does is when you cleanse a negative effect off of yourself or an ally, they are granted 13 ultimate. Now this can happen once every 9 seconds per target. So again, this is not grouped, and what this is basically sort of a quasi pillagers in that you can give them ultimate every 9 seconds if you're cleansing an effect. I can tell you with the chaos that's in the night market, this is going to be a really great set to try. It's fairly easy to obtain, especially if you've got a pile of AP to go buy some coffers. Then you can really fill in your sticker book on that fairly quickly, and then build the set yourself, or you can find it on Traders, as I said. Now, a couple of skills to keep in mind for cleansing. I recommend running. Let's just go over the classes really quickly. I recommend Green Balance from the Warden and Living Death from the Necromancer, as well as Curative Rune Forms from the Arcanist. These are really, really, really strong together to help get both healing increased as well as providing benefits such as the Xena's Empowering Discs will grant minor courage as well as minor intellect and minor endurance. Why this is a really good morph is even if they just run through your Xena's ring, the buffs persist for 10 seconds afterwards. Another really nice one, Intensive Mender. This is going to heal nearby allies really well. It's a cheap skill to cast. The passives from these are awesome. I'm going to put my healer playlist in the description. I've gone over these skill lines before. Check out my healer playlist. I've got videos on these. These are really, really strong together. But one of the things that I need to focus on in this build here, in order to proc Arkay's Charity and give that ultimate, we need to run this skill right here. It's fairly cheap to cast. It's got a fairly large AoE. I'll just show you right here. As you can see, that hits just like in that blue ring here. And if she had something to cleanse, I would be giving her ultimate every 9 seconds with that. It also has a very high burst heal. So what I'm basically doing here is I'm kind of replacing uh, the skill Combat Prayer with this, in order to proc the gear set, combat prayer is probably going to be run fairly often with another healer in group. So basically the idea of this build is to kind of maybe group up with people not necessarily in this kind of a group here, but just kind of maybe you get in guild chat, or if you're on PlayStation, you join a PlayStation party and coordinate that way, that kind of thing. Um, go through your guild members and maybe you group up loosely like this so that you get benefits of some things. I will be doing a build video for a tank build as well as a DPS build that are both kind of implied on not being grouped together. So keep an eye out for that if this build up video interests you. But to go into the skills here, we'll just go into the front bar skills here. I've got Budding Seeds. This is a really powerful heal that provides a synergy as well as a heal over time. Braiding Tether, or excuse me, Braided Tether. This is an awesome heal. You're going to have a lot of enemies on the ground dead. You're going to be able to proc this on. This is free to cast, and it increases your healing done by 3% on your front bar. Also, Chakram of Destiny. This is a great spammable. Not only will this generate a crux for you, this will also give your allies that you hit it with a damage shield for 6 seconds. So this pairs with the other two sets, Combat Physician and the Blind. If you pair this, you're given a lot of shields to a lot of people, which is going to help out. Not only this is mobile. I mean, basically you're just throwing it out into the air. You don't have to aim it. As you can see, this is just running over and hitting her. Doesn't matter where I'm looking. Same with this. Radiating Regeneration, you don't have to aim it. Budding Seeds is a ground heal that's got a really big area, and then you can hit the cleansing heal, renewing undeath, that will give ultimate. So that's your front bar. I have barrier here for the Magicka recovery from the Magicka aid passive. This is a grouped members benefit here, so just keep that in mind. You don't want to hit this if you're basically just all by yourself. This, however, back bar, we'll do the whole back bar. Overflowing altar. This is another one. It's allies, it's not grouped members. Same here with the energy orb. This is going to heal everybody. As I showed already, this heals people. As you can see right there, she's getting healed. So you want to make sure you're using stuff that is going to heal everybody. This is here basically to apply chilled and minor breach to enemies. And then intensive mender on the back bar, as I said. And then Glyphic of Tides. This is huge. This heals your allies, not group members, but allies. And it provides major protection and gives a unique 200 weapon and spell damage. This lasts for 15 seconds and is a massive. Let me just get some ultimate here so I can cast it and show you. When you hit this ultimate, as you can see, this big ring that's lit up, all you have to do is heal it up to full, and then it provides major protection. And as you can see, this is a massive ring. This is also going to heal. So that's a really great one to use. Quick spotlight on the Necromancer, the Necro Res. Let me just respec some skills here to pull from somewhere else so that I can show that. The Necro Resurrection. This renewing animation would be also a very strong possibility to use. You can resurrect The only caveat to this is it costs quite a bit of ultimate, but you could resurrect 3 people, and maybe this would be really good if you're fighting one of the dungeon bosses to maybe save a run and just resurrect everybody back up. And then you can also give them magicka and stamina as well. Probably really helpful for your tank if you happen to res them with this. Otherwise, the animate is just going to give a blast bones. Probably not super helpful, but this is cheaper to operate, 320, so it's 15 ultimate cheaper. So just keep that in mind. So back at the rest of the build here, we'll cover the gear sets in detail. I have a precise healing staff on the front bar. And why do I have that? That's to increase my critical strike healing. I've ran into a lot of people in my days of playing this game who want to be a crit healer or whatnot, and they look at, for example, being a Khajiit or something like that, which, yes, it does increase your critical healing. That's the amount of critical heal. But the big component that people don't remember is if you're going to do that, you need to make sure that you are actually critically healing often. And how you do that is you increase your critical chance on your build. And so you need to make sure that you're running something that gives you the buff Major Prophecy. And why that's important is because it increases your spell critical by 12%. And so if you look at this strike here, that is what happens when you proc your Major Prophecy. You want this to be really, really high. It is a good idea to have a high critical heal, but if you are running a very low critical chance here, for example, some builds on healer builds can run in the neighborhood of 18% without having any buffs on. You're not going to critically strike a whole lot with your healing if you're running like that. So keep that in mind. You really need to pay attention to this right here if you're going to run the blind monster set and combat physician, because you're going to want those to hit often, and that's how you get that to occur. On the back bar, I just have a Maelstrom's Ice Staff. Why do I do that? Because I'm not using a front bar arena set, and so this basically is just essentially doubling my damage that I do as a healer. Because the only damage skill I have on this entire build is my Wall of Element, or my Blockade, excuse me. My Blockade of Frost, it only does 708 damage per second. So if I'm going to run this right here and it increases my Wall of Elements by 1250, that more than doubles my damage that my Blockade is doing. So it's not a lot in the realm of looking at a hard DPS number in terms of upping this, but it's a heck of a percentage jump if you look at it that way. So going on here, I've got a light, oh, by the way, precise with a spell damage glyph on the front bar. And then I have a weakening glyph with an infused Maelstrom Ice Staff here. So all of my gear pieces are light in divines, and my jewelry are all arcane with magicka reduction glyphs. Again, I have videos on doing it this way. Check out my playlist that I link in the description so that you can see why I do that. I don't want to go over that real detailed in this video. I've already done videos on that. But I have magicka glyphs on all of these. They're all divines. Basically, I have the blind on the head and shoulders. Obviously, it's a monster set. Then I have Arkay's Charity on the body, so that regardless of what bar I'm on, if I cleanse somebody with something, then this will proc, and it's always active. And then I have a critical heal here on my front bar to pair with the blind. So CP really quickly. I always run Soothing Tide, Swift Renewal, and Rejuvenator on every healer build that I do. It's just kind of a sideways smiley face right here. I recommend doing this on every build. This does area of effect heals increased, healing done over time increased, and then this gives you weapon damage for your healing done. And then my fourth slot I recommend for this would be either enlivening overflow. This will give your group members, or excuse me, your allies uh, increased recoveries. Or if they're really low, this would again from the brink would grant a damage shield for 6 seconds, and this can happen once every 30 seconds per target. So this would be yet another shield that could proc if they're below 25% health, which quite frankly, with the amount of damage that's in the night market, quite possibly could hit quite often. So that could be a possibility there. For the red tree, again, always boundless vitality and fortified. As a healer, you're not technically, in most cases, meant to resurrect people, but with the night market, you might have some people that die. So you might want to have this slotted in case you need that assistance there to help. And then increase to damage shields that you're providing. Obviously, with this build, Bastion is going to be a really, really good one to slot on there. Really quickly, to go over the race, I am a Breton. This is by far and away the best race to be, um, in my opinion, for healers. It makes it absolutely a piece of cake with the passives that you get. Max Magicka, spell resistance if you're hit with Burning Chill or Concussed uh, is doubled. You get an increase of spell resistance of 2310 already, and then you have that Magicka recovery, and then also a 7% reduction in the cost of your Magicka spells, which everything on this build is either free or it costs Magicka. With the exception of the Overflowing Altar, obviously costs health to cast that. So I believe I've covered just about everything I can. I've done the skills, I've done the classes, I've done the CP. Uh, if you liked this video or thought it was helpful or interesting, please consider liking and subscribing to my channel, liking the video and subscribing to my channel. Turn on your notification bell so you get notified when I do new content. Again, this is meant for ungrouped running around in the night market. So if you see this video and the night market is not active, this might be a good PvP build, probably a little squishy for most cases of that. There's not a whole lot of resistances on this, but it's meant for um, running around with ungrouped people basically. And what I wanted to verify with this video before I close out the video, some highlighted sets to run. Basically, for example, the tried and true spell power cure set that comes from the white gold tower. This is still a good set to run because it does not have the group members tag in there. This will still give everybody major courage. So I'm doing a build video here to kind of pair along with a major courage healer because I'm guessing this is probably going to be quite prevalent. So this would be kind of a niche, like fill in the gaps that the SPC healer may not be given. So keep that in mind. There are other sets in the game that are kind of unique and maybe a little bit niche and not as common that might really, really work well in the night market. So keep that in mind. Kind of look around, search around if you want to. Just a really quick reminder though, traditional sets like For example, Minor Aegis is not active in there unless you're in a dungeon, trial, or arena. So if you go in the night market and you're going to do one of the dungeons or the trial, then you're likely going to get the benefit from that. This is mainly for running around farming the overland zone of the night market and killing the district bosses and those types of things. So keep that in mind. There are a lot of sets that will still work for running around loose like that. I was just trying to make a coordinated build that would pair well with an SPC healer. So keep that in mind. There are a lot of sets that still work, but these ones that I'm listing right here in this video are specifically going to work really well with a mobile, uncoordinated running around uh, like it's Black Friday kind of thing. Um, keep that in mind. Not everything is ideal for that. So I would like to thank you for watching the video. If you thought this was helpful, just please keep in mind I'm going to be posting more to go along with this one. I'm going to do a tank video up next, and I will also put together a DPS build that is kind of a little bit different and unique and meant to go into the night market in an ungrouped scenario. So keep that in mind. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in another video. Bye.